mindfulness brings our attention back to what is, away from mental judgments. สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ Let's talk about how we can use the stress and the feelings of worry and anxiety from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, how we can use that situation and turn it around as an opportunity to also practice mindfulness. Now, I talked about the ongoing pandemic and how to manage our stress in relation to it in my other page, in my coaching page, Thrive with Point. So be sure to check that video out first, because this one will be an addition to that. Hopefully this one will be a good complement to the other video. Now, in that page, in that video, I talked more specifically about the psychological tips in how to deal with our stress and how to develop a skill set where we believe that we are empowered and feel empowered to take on any challenge in life. Today, here in ค้นพบ, I would like to take this opportunity to also talk about developing mindfulness, awareness, self-awareness. Let me begin by proposing this idea to you. In any situation that has a challenge to it, all situations of difficulty, obstacles in life, and even suffering, these events, these experiences are also a great opportunity for us to grow, to learn, to mature, and to practice mindfulness. So mindfulness, or self-awareness, or awareness in a nutshell, is the ability to get back in touch with what is truly is in the present moment, in the here and now. In other words, we want to learn to see through the illusion that our monkey mind often comes up with and tries to convince us to believe in those mental chatter, the story, the narrative that often has some sense of doom to it, that causes us to feel stressed and consequently negative emotions, anger, fear, worry, you name it. That's mindfulness in a nutshell. Because as I say many times before, both here in ค้นพบ and in my other page, my other coaching page, first of all, we don't experience reality for what it truly is. What we experience is always a result of the way in which we look at things. It is always a result of the way that we interpret and process our experiences. But we believe the resulting end to be our reality. We create a map for the territory, but in doing so, we mistake the map for the territory. You see? So mindfulness helps us to bring ourselves back in touch with the territory, or in other words, with reality for what it truly is, as much as possible. Because in doing so, we have a bigger clarity of mind. We have more clarity. We have more understanding for what is, that is free from judgments, that is free from our mental projections of good, bad, me, mine, I like this, I don't like that, evil, good, etc. Free from unnecessary judgments. And in doing so, we develop more clarity, as I just said, and a calmer, more peaceful, natural state of mind. So let's use the help of some examples. Right now, I'm sure that at least here in Thailand, there's a lot of controversy going on surrounding how the government is dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. So, for example, if you are one of the people who view that the government is doing such a shit job in this whole management of the pandemic, in the management of rolling out the vaccination programs, if you think that the government is failing miserably, it's complete shit, it's a bunch of liars, etc. Before you believe that to be true, notice first that that is just your mental projection. It's just a mind-made narrative. Your monkey mind is constructing that judgment and trying to get you to believe it, to believe in it, and to feel justified by holding that position. but actually it's nothing more than judgments. As a matter of fact, if you are inclined to really dislike what the government is doing, or even hate the government, notice that even me suggesting this idea might seem like some annoyance or some threat to you. You might not like what I'm saying, or you might even suspect that, am I trying to defend the government here? But that's the point exactly. That's how your mind works, based on judgments, likes and dislikes, and based on protecting that which you have already judged, and protecting that which you have identified with, and labeling anything else as a threat, as bad, as an enemy. And I talked this again in a video I did here on Konpop 2 weeks ago on the topic, why there is no evil. Right? So notice the judgments there. So pull your attention back to reality. Right? Let's say you're also judging about, maybe you're watching the news a lot and you feel very hopeless and helpless because there's so much negativity in the news right now, because the numbers are rising, the numbers of infected people are rising, numbers of new cases are rising. Maybe you feel hopeless. Maybe you feel that there's nothing that you can do. But also notice that that's just your mind-made projection. Bring your attention back to your direct experience of reality for what it truly is. Now, what does your direct experience of reality mean? What I want you to get to realize is to learn to see through the illusion per se that your mind always comes up with. Because thinking is actually nothing more than an interpretation, and therefore is actually also an illusion. You can think of it like that. Thinking is nothing more than mental made projections based on concepts. It is therefore not reality. It is just a concept that your mind has come up with, and is trying very hard to pull you in to believe to be true. So pull your attention back to your present moment experience of reality, which I'm sure, now that we're probably all in lockdown, at least if you're here in Thailand or in the 10 provinces that they have announced, Bangkok included, notice that your real experience of reality is most likely to be perhaps the phone that you're holding in your hand to watch my video or to hear me speak now, or the laptop or the computer that you're watching this video on. Perhaps you're sitting in a chair. Perhaps you're lying down on your bed. Perhaps you're walking around in your house doing this, doing that, and you have your earphones, your earbuds in as you listen to my video. That is actually more in line with the reality just as it is. So bring your attention back to it, back to your direct experience. What are you feeling now? Right? Notice that, and again, before I continue, if you need, pause this video and try this. So notice that your thoughts about the government or about how the situation is unfolding, that's just judgments and thinking. If that thinking, if that mental commentary has created an emotion, say fear, anger, disgust, dislike, you name it, then label the emotion for what it is. Anger, fear, worry, dislike, right? Pull your attention then back to what you can directly experience now. Say, remind yourself of the posture that you're sitting in. If it happens to be a chair, remind yourself that you're in a sitting posture. Try to feel your body. What parts of the body do you feel most right now? Perhaps it's something along the lines of your bottom, your butt, because of course there's the pressure on the seat, and there's the legs that touch the floor or touch the leg of the chair or anything like that. Try to notice those sensations, because that is actually your direct experience of reality. And that's the point of mindfulness. Mindfulness brings our attention back to what is, away from mental judgments, which often produce stress, worry, anxiety, hopelessness, even helplessness, and even feelings of dislike. And that's a big one, right? Because these feelings of dislike are most likely to generate feelings of anger. And when you feel anger, you feel completely identified with the emotion of anger. And by feeling completely identified with and justified in your anger, you are more likely to take action out of that anger. Those actions are only likely to lead to more problems rather than solutions. Most likely to lead to more suffering rather than liberation or freedom. You see? So mindfulness helps us to appreciate the whole mechanism of what's going on here. The suffering that we create for ourselves through our mind-made chatter, through our mind-made story, that we think about this and we label our judgments on it, likes, dislikes, me, mine, bad, blah, 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 blah. You complain, you feel helpless, you complain to a friend, you also make them feel helpless. So this thing only adds to a sense of problem, a sense of perhaps victimhood, and that is an act out of anger. Mindfulness helps us to see through this illusion. Mindfulness helps us to see and get reminded of what's going on here. And mindfulness brings us back to the present moment for what it truly actually is. And in doing so, we begin to learn more about the nature of our mind. And we begin to learn more. The mind begins, through this training, begins to learn that, hey, approaching life in this way is not always helpful because it produces more suffering for yourself than peace and calmness and clarity and wisdom. So with this inset, with this notion inset and ready to go, we begin to learn more and more about the processes at work here. And in doing so, we cultivate more mindfulness, more awareness, more clarity of mind, and thereby more wisdom, because we will have wisdom to see through the situation itself and our own emotional projections and emotional attachments, dislikes and likes that we project onto the situation. Once we see through that, we can separate the two and we take action based on what is just needed. And we feel more empowered, we feel more in control, we feel more at peace and more calm, and that is a state that is better, of course, than stressful states of emotions based on anger, fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, which is often a result of the mind. So let's use the help of another example. Let's say you are starting to develop what you may consider to be some symptoms of COVID. For example, perhaps you have a running nose now. Pay attention to that. A running nose and a stuffy, clogged nose, for example. Remind yourself and ask yourself, what is reality right now, just as it is? Try to see it for what it truly is first. Do you notice the mind-made projections that your mind comes up with? Oh, do I have COVID now? Oh, what if I have COVID and what if I spread this to everybody in my house? That would be so terrible and we're all gonna die. See that? That's mind-made projection. Separate that from the experience of what is. Perhaps close your eyes to help you to recognize what truly is. And if you close your eyes, maybe it'll be more clear that your current experience of reality, for what it truly is just nothing more than a stuffy, running nose. The discomfort that comes with that sensation. And remind yourself of what's going on. It's just discomfort. Note the discomfort for what it truly is. Then from that, we have more clarity. And action will resolve itself from a place of wisdom, you see. That's the point. For me, right now, I have a sensation of a tight chest, a little bit of a pain in my chest. But so I have to pay attention. What am I saying right now in my mind? Am I trying to think that, do I have symptoms of COVID? Right? How am I explaining this tightness in my chest? Well, right now, I will explain it this way. In my mind, I'm thinking, I probably feel quite tired because I've been spending the past few hours filming these videos, both in Thai and English, and also for my Thrive with Point coaching page, and it's late at night, so maybe I'm just feeling tired. See? But I'm able to also at the same time recognize that that's just my mental commentary. My direct experience of my current reality actually is nothing more than the bright light that's coming from the softbox spotlights left and right of me. It's coming to my eyes, that's leading me to feel some discomfort in my visual perception, and the discomfort in my chest because I've been speaking a lot. The discomfort in my chest and the strong light in my eyes and the blow from the air conditioning machine are things that are actually most in line with my direct experience of reality as it just is in the present moment. And this practice helps us to cultivate mindfulness. Let's use the help of one more example. Here in Bangkok, where I'm making this video, we are expecting lockdown measures to begin to take effect very soon. So we can't go much except for, say, grocery shopping to buy food and supplies. So let's say I have to go grocery shopping sooner or later, right? I want to remind myself to be mindful of what I'm doing. Am I worried about going outside? Do I fear getting and contracting COVID, for example? How do I separate that line of thinking from what truly is? See, notice that. When I walk in the supermarket, do I feel uneasy walking past somebody else, walking past somebody, say, if they forgot to wear a mask, or if they have their mask lower than it should be perhaps? Notice the training takes place by trying to notice what is going on in your mind there. See? Always pay attention to what your mind is doing. And bring your attention back to the present moment. Feel what is. Very likely, the physical sensation of being in a supermarket or a market will be quite pleasant because perhaps they have the air conditioning machine on, right? So that's reality for what it is, right? Maybe you're in a posture of standing. So remind yourself that your reality is that you're standing right now or walking, not the mental chatter. That's nothing more than imagination, a figment of your imagination that your mind projects onto the situation and therefore likely causes more stress than needs be. And that's the practice of mindfulness in a nutshell that I want to combine with the video on my Thrive with Point page, and that I want to combine with this current COVID pandemic situation. We can all use these situations of difficulties as an opportunity to grow. Again, mindfulness helps us to regain clarity and see things from what they truly are, free from our mind-made chatter, the monkey mind that projects and labels things based on good, bad, me, mine, I like this, I don't like that, etc. And with clarity, we have more wisdom. We move from a place of wisdom. Once we learn about our mind more, once we learn about this more, our mind will naturally react to our thoughts and emotions less, because we always have clarity and calmness and peacefulness somewhere in the background, always hanging there, because a trained mind, a mindful mind, is at peace and is calm, right? And that will be a skill set that I think would be very helpful for us in life. I hope this was valuable for you. I hope this video was valuable for you. Thank you very much for watching. If you found it helpful, please like my video, please share the video, and please subscribe. And don't forget, I am now on other social media platforms. If you're watching Konpop, we have a Facebook page and a YouTube page. If you're watching, and also if you watch my videos on my coaching page, Drive with Point, I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram there. Information should be on the screen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. สวัสดีครับ